Hi everyone, and welcome to my guide for the updated Fist of the Heavens Crusader in Diablo 3 Season 29. This is one of the highlights of this season. This build has received a new item that is very similar to the Season 29 Sanctified effect for Fist of the Heavens, with the automatic Fist of the Heavens dropping down all around you. This is a super smooth speed farming build. As you can see here, it can literally just one button ride through those rifts while everything dies around you. It is super chill to play and a really good way to gear up your Crusader if you want to play that in Season 29. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the different setups. There's a push version, there's a speed farming version, and what you need to know to gear up effectively with this build. This is one of the top farming builds, and with this you can complete even greater with 90s, which has the so-called loot cap, where you get no more loot after that in as little as like 40, 50, 60 seconds. Around 1 minute on average is possible if you have the right setup and just destroy everything. And I'm gonna show you how. So here's a D3 planner that I made. This has the different variations down here. We have the non-season stuff here, and here's the Season 29 with the Paragon cap. So one thing in Season 29 is that you can only assign 800 points, and you can see the individual point distribution here in each of those different setups. In general, most of these setups are fairly similar. You have the Valor set with 5 pieces, and then you have the Guardian set, 2 pieces. You combine them with the Ring of Royal Grandeur. Like this, you get tons of damage reduction. You generate resources from your Fist of the Heavens instead of just spending them. And you also gain this massive damage multiplier on the 6-piece bonus. Then you have the 2 belts. There's the Vigilante belt. This one was reworked to have this automatic Fist of the Heavens effect. So whenever you are on the horse, you automatically throw down those Fist of the Heavens, and they are way stronger than a normal cast because they get a damage bonus. Effectively, they cast at the same rate that you cast them with your attack speed, but they also gain a damage bonus based on how much extra movement speed you have. And the horse gives you, I believe it's 150% extra speed by itself. And then you can have some other effects like movement speed on your boots, on your paragons, on, for example, the laws of hope, the Rings of Angels. And like this, you get, 200, 300% movement speed bonus or so, and you have tons of extra damage, and these Fists of Heavens are just annihilating. This build is not just for speed farming greater rifts. This can also be used in Torment 16, in bounties, or in Echoing Nightmares. As you can see here, you can just blast through those waves here, get to your rank 125 augment really easily by just riding around on a horse. Basically, you don't really have to press anything else. You do have a few buffs in there that you can activate or should activate here and there, like your Akkurat's Champion, your Iron Skin, your Law, but it's kind of face roll and not really much to think about. However, there are some setups where you go focus and restraint, and in those cases you want to use left click and right click once every 5 seconds. Usually you have exactly 5 seconds of the steed charge, and then once you come off the horse, you do one combo with both your attacks to get the buffs, and then you go back on the horse and you keep running. This might not always be the case though. For example, here in a solo greater rift push variation, and this is actually one of the better Crusader builds to push with now, you don't even play focus and restraint, you just play unity and convention of elements. And like this, okay, you have to play around the CoE cycle, so you want to go on your horse during the right cycle, in that case lightning. But other than that, you don't really have to do that much either. It's just like try to evade attacks and try to run into Oculus rings, try to kite enemies together, and then set up the pull so they have monsters grouped up before you start nuking on your cycle. And if you look through those different setups here, you see that there's a lot of similarities. So we have basically all the same skills, you have the same passives and the same cube stuff. So Dark Light, Casset's Call of Righteousness, and then the Ring of Royal Grandeur. You can also cube one of the other rings, but usually it's best to cube this one. And for the speeds, for example, here we go with maybe slightly different gems, but other than that, it's always quite similar. So T16, you can speed it up a little bit more. You don't need that much damage with Guardian set, for example. So once you have a decent setup, you can do about second arm guards, go even faster if you want, but it's also kind of optional. And in Enquiries Nightmares, you can basically just play a solo push version. For your stat priorities, you want to go for the typical crit stats, crit chance, crit damage, for example, in amulets, gloves, rings, etc. Then you want a lot of cooldown reduction. You want to hit around 65% or so cooldown reduction, because like this you can activate Akkurat's Champion every 32 seconds. Luckily, in Season 29 this is quite easy to achieve, because you have 40% coming from Paragons in one chunk. So you don't need that much like crazy cooldown reduction. You also have the Gorg in there, and then like the diamond, for example, can get a few rolls and that's it. So it's relatively easy to achieve, and getting this cooldown value also means that you have good uptime on your C charge, you have good uptime on your law. If laws of long after law, you can have basically permanent law there, and you can use an iron skin once in a while. And the same goes for all the other setups. You always want to have like a lot of cooldown reduction just to make the setup smooth, have high accuracy, champion uptime, and high law uptime. Outside of that, yeah, there's attack speed maybe if you can get a roll or two, or just go for strength vitality, especially with the Guardian set. This is pretty powerful in Season 29. And maybe you get some area damage here for a push, but that's is not really that important, especially in Season 29, because you get 200% area damage there. And yes, the Fist of the Heavens that come from the Vigilante belt are actually triggering area damage. And then we have the elemental roll. So on your amulet and bracer, you want to roll either lightning or holy. There is a variation here. So on solo push, the lightning just deals more damage. And then usually in speedruns in T16, you go for holy with the Divine Well rune. And this has better AoE coverage, but it's a bit weaker. So if you're trying to like go for like slower, higher tier runs, usually switch to lightning. And that's pretty much it here for the setup. I have it linked in the description. I also have the Maxwell guide by Northar there, so you can go and read it up in a little bit more detail as well. Other than that, hope you enjoyed this guide. I wish you good luck in Season 29. I think it's going to be tons of fun to play this build. I'm quite looking forward to it. Hope you too. And I'll see you guys next time.